Hi everybody, welcome to Nightmare on Scam Street. First of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers who've stayed with me through thick and thin. I know I haven't posted for a while. There have been reasons and I'll go over those in a different video. During the lockdowns, I took the opportunity to find out some of my old textbooks. I was trained at one point as a lightning protection engineer, designing and evaluating lightning protection systems for large buildings. I've always been fascinated with extreme weather, like lightning and tornadoes and heavy rain. This course taught me a huge amount about types of lightning and the harm they can do that most people are utterly unaware of. So I decided to do a short series of videos on the different types of lightning and how you can get harmed by them without even realizing that you're in danger. Now, I'm sure most of you have heard that it's really dangerous to stand under a tree or beside a tree during a lightning storm. Most people think the danger comes from flying bits of tree if the tree gets hit. But that's only part of it. The real danger is lightning striking you through the tree. In this image we can see 4 people sheltering from the rain under a tree. Most of them are leaning against the tree, but then suddenly it gets hit by lightning. All 4 of them are instantly stunned and fall to the ground unconscious. Now, I don't have any details about what their injuries were, but I know for a fact they won't be trivial. So the real question is, why? Why did these 4 people get hit by lightning by the lightning hitting the tree? Now, it's quite interesting. Let me explain. Now, I won't bore you with a long description of how lightning works, but most people understand that lightning mostly goes from clouds in the sky down to ground, and they'll hit an object, whatever that object may be. Once they hit an object, the lightning passes through it down to ground and then dissipates itself in the ground. Now, what's happened in this case is what actually happens a lot. The tree isn't a very good conductor. Tree is made of wood, which is in itself not a great conductor. It's probably filled up with about 30 or 40% of water and sap, which once again is not a great conductor of electricity. And lightning prefers the most simple path to ground, the most conductive path to ground. Which sadly for the 4 guys in this video means that the lightning comes part of the way down the tree, sees a better conductive path through them, jumps to them, down through their bodies and into the ground. Each one of them would have received a massive electric shock, and their whole nervous system would have been stunned totally into inactivity. Imagine a taser times 1,000,000. It seems incredible that lightning would do this. I mean, why would it jump from one thing to another? Well, imagine it's already jumped from the sky to the ground. And that's a much bigger distance than from a tree to a person. And once I'd studied this, I realized actually it's a very true thing. It's a very dangerous thing. This is the main reason you don't stand under a tree during a thunderstorm. One of the things I've wanted to do for quite a while is demonstrate this phenomena experimentally and make a video of it. Now, recently I had all the kit I needed, so I really badly cobbled together an experiment to show exactly how lightning can jump from a tree to a person, through that person and to ground. The reason I wanted to do this video is because when I've told friends and family about how lightning behaves in these situations, they just don't believe me. Anyway, the experiment I've done is really crude. I could have made it much prettier, but that just shows how true the experiment is. If I'd put lots of decoration around it, chances are someone would accuse me of cheating. To prepare the experiment, I'm using a metal can, and on top of that I'm going to build a tree. Now, as you can see, this is a piece of wet cardboard. It's a packing of some screws, I believe. And cardboard is a fibrous material made of trees, and it contains a fair amount of water, mostly rainwater. So my plan is to roll up this cardboard to make it into a tree trunk. I'll roll it up so that the inside part is the painty part. It doesn't make any difference. It's just going to be a cylindrical tree. And if I flatten out the end, you'll see that it'll fit onto the tin quite nicely. To the right of the box, you can see a black cylinder with two red wires. This is a high voltage spark generator. One wire of the spark generator is connected directly to the tin, just going to make the other wire sit about a centimetre above the tin. Watch what happens when I turn on the power. Now that is a significant spark. There are specifications on how much voltage you need to jump across a gap. I'm not interested in that. Right now I'm just showing you the basics of what this spark generator can do. The idea is that I'm going to fit a tree on top of that can and then zap it with pretend lightning. So here's our setup. On the bottom middle we have our wet cardboard, which is simulating a tree. The high voltage spark generator cable is mounted on a piece of plastic with the tip of the wire maybe a centimetre above the tree. And also on that you can see a small screwdriver type attachment. That's actually going to represent our victim in a short while. When I turn the power on, you can hear a slightly muted clicking noise. That's because the spark isn't jumping directly to the tin, it's jumping via the wet cardboard. So what I'm going to do now is move our simulated person, which is the screwdriver bit, close to but not touching the tree. There's a gap of maybe 2 millimeters or so. What happens when I turn on the power? That was quite spectacular. In the first part of the clip, you could see that the spark was jumping down the length of the tree. It wasn't a very strong spark, but the tree was offering quite a lot of resistance, being mostly just wood and water. But once we move the person close to the tree, now remember this is close to, not touching, the spark travelled down part of the tree and then jumped to the person, and then caused a massive spark which went down to ground. Now, in the second part of that clip, I've magnified the area there the spark is hitting the person, and you can clearly see there are bits of cardboard being blown off of the tree. In other words, this is like the destruction that you would see on a real tree under these circumstances. So unfortunately, my tree was being destroyed, and that's what happens in real life, of course. Trees explode quite often when they're hit by lightning. I decided to make a new tree, and I replaced the person with a coil of wire. Now the reason is that coil of wire will offer some resistance to the spark by inductive reactance. Right, so these clips just show the final result, which is the same as the first experiment. And it just goes to show you the reason why you don't stand under a tree during a lightning storm is that you're highly likely to be struck by lightning, like those four unfortunate guys in the very first part of the video. Well, if you've managed to get this far and you're still watching, thank you very much. That video is one that's been in my head for a very long time. It's nice to get it out. I plan to do another 2 or 3 videos about lightning. It's a fascinating subject, at least to me. And I think you'll find there are some things that I can show you which will not seem logical at all. But I'll show you the evidence, I'll show you the experiments to prove it. In the meantime, stay safe, and I'll see you next video. Thanks for watching.